Hello, welcome to Fletch and Sav, the best bits today, live from the Stadium of Light, Sunderland versus Manchester United.
Big game, big debate, and the governor, Paul Ince. Enjoy.
Leicester conceivably could go down next year. They could win the league and they could still be in a relegation fight next year.
That's a big call.
They could.
I see where you're coming from.
It depends which way they go. They could go and invest all their Champions League money that they get and try to and take the risk and try to be a top club for years to come. If they pocket the money and keep or maybe lose someone like Mahrez, all of a sudden, their team is not, it's not a Manchester United squad, a Liverpool squad. It's not.
But do you not give Pellegrini a pass because he's been told halfway through the season that he's losing his job and the Guardiola's coming in and he's had a lot to do with Pellegrini?
Spent millions and millions of pounds. Got the facilities they've got, the Etihad campus. They've got Aguero, they've got Silva. So you're telling they're spending 70 million quid on centre-halves. They still haven't got it right when Company's not playing. So how can you excuse Pellegrini?
Fletch, they've regressed under Pellegrini. Let's not get it. They won the double. They won, nothing last year.
But they could still win everything.
They knocked out the champions.
They could still win everything.
But
okay. We're sat here this Saturday morning saying these guys have got to look at the
good debate, isn't it?
We're saying that these guys have got to look at themselves, and we're including Pellegrini in it, who still might win the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the League Cup.
Maybe. All of them. All of them.
What I'm saying is, Michael, we've got to wait a little bit before we throw Pellegrini in because he's still in contention for all of those trophies.
Wait a little bit, but we've had over 2.5 years. Pellegrini's had 2.5 years, so we're still waiting to see if he's regressed points totals in the league every year. He's regressed. At this time, last season, he's lower again.
See that there, Ryan Giggs, good mate of yours when he was at United. If you were still is, Giggs, you're a great lad. If he wants to further his career, with all the talk about Mourinho coming in, if you were him, would you move on and start somewhere else?
Got to, without a doubt. Giggsy took the Man United a couple of years last year, did okay, but I just think as a young manager, if you're going to learn your trade, you've got to go and manage. No good sitting alongside, managers, and you don't get the input that you want to do. I'm not sure whether Ryan wants to be a manager, whether he wants to be assistant manager. I don't know what he wants to be, but by the sounds of it, he can be a very, very good manager. But you have to go and learn your trade. Come out of Manchester United, come away from it, go into a Championship club or a League One club that's got a few quid that can go forward, that is ambitious.
What is this Chinese Super League all about? So we've got Chinese football journalist Ned Kelly on the phone to talk us through it. They are spending tens of millions of pounds on footballers from some of the big European clubs. What's changed?
Well, it all comes back to the new president, Xi Jinping, who came into power in 2013, who's a football fan and has made it one of his big part of his Chinese dream is to build Chinese football up. He wants to get the national team back on track, qualify for the World Cup, host the World Cup, and he even spoke about winning a World Cup. That'll be a bit down the line, but one of the steps is to pour vast amounts of money, something like $850 billion into football in China.
I kind of think when we played, it was all about winning trophies, winning medals.
It's changed now, hasn't it?
Changed, drastically it's changed. And when you look at someone like Ramirez,
Jackson Martinez,
but more so Ramirez because he's like one of very few box-to-box midfield players. He gets up and down. He could have gone to Arsenal. He could have gone to Liverpool. He could have gone, to something like that. But yeah, he's chosen to go out to China. Yelovich goes to a second-league Chinese football team. When he's in the Premier League at West Ham.
So what does that say about the footballer?
What's it say about the Premier
Depends
League?
what your background is, doesn't it? If you're from a poor South American area, you might not be thinking, what I need here is a medal. You might be thinking, this is my opportunity to look after my family.
So 100 grand a week can't look after your family in this country.
But you get
you're
more.
A top player.
You get more.
But it's 150 grand a week in the top.
Everybody's circumstances are different.
Yeah, but
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I get that. But
I think it's wrong to just say footballers as well. I mean, if you're working in one bank and the next bank down the road offers you a lot more money than in another country, for double your money in another, would you go? It's life.
No,
innit?
there is a way that you guys look at a game and try and manage it to try and allow the game. You're already stuck. Look at the faces already. To try and allow the game.
You were two guys who would have benefited from my approach, I think. But from the very first time that you start refereeing, you're told to try to use a stepped approach, so you don't go in too soon. and throw a yellow card about, because if you do, and that yellow card doesn't have the impact that you want, in
So
terms of calming people down.
You've got a free whack.
Now that's the thing. You don't have a free whack, right? A yellow card that's clearly got to be yellow. There's some things, what I've worked out, there's some things that are absolutely clearly yellow card offences, which you can't manage. You can't manage. But there's so many situations that sort of like fall into the margins, the middle, where the referee has to make an interpretation. So if a tackle goes in after 30 seconds and you think to yourself, can I manage this situation? Will a warning work? If I speak to a player, calm him down, everybody else sees that I'm dealing with it, that might just absolutely do the job. And at least you've got somewhere to go if another one goes in 10 minutes later. If you go straight in with the yellow card, the next tackle's a yellow card.
The yellow card challenge is a yellow card challenge, surely.
There's so many where you have to use a bit of interpretation. People say, why is that tackle in the 50th minute a yellow card and the one in the first minute wasn't? Well, that's because the game's a totally different animal in the 50th minute than it was in the first minute.
The same tackle in the 50th minute as the first minute, you would give a tackle in the yellow card in the 50th for the same in the first.
100%. If you allow our referees to manage the game, to try to keep the cards in the pocket as long as they can, give them somewhere to go later in the game when the game gets harder, probably you're going to end up with less yellow cards and therefore less red cards, and the entertainment value out there is going to be much better.